Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Gen Z Talks Money, where we're going to discuss the term of the week, compound interest. So, I am going to explain compound interest by holding a little made up competition between person A and person B on who can make more money after both being given $10,000, a savings account, giving them 5% every single year on their $10,000 principal, right? Principal means starting amount in finance, and given 40 years to do so. The only difference is that person A will be doing things a little bit differently than person B will be doing things, and we are going to see how that influences their total return. We are going to do this by having two T-charts for both person A and person B. So in this case, it's person A. We're on the left side of the T-chart. We're going to have an amount that represents the dollar amount before the year has started. So in this case, considering it's your first year, you have your $10,000, right? Your principal that we talked about in the last slide on the left side of the chart. And on the right side of the chart, you're going to have the amount of money after that year has passed. So after you make this 5% down here, you go from 10,000 to 10,500. But if you remember, I said that person A is doing things a little bit differently than person B is doing things. And that different thing that person A is doing is that after every single year of receiving those interest payments from his savings account, so after receiving that 5% every single year, person A is pocketing $500 and dedicating that money to discretionary spending. So he's spending it on clothes, vacation, on hobbies, whatever. And that influences his T-chart by making it look like this. You make 5% on the principal, but then this $500 goes away. And you start again with 10. Then you make the 5%, you make $500. The $500 gets pocketed. You go back to 10,000, etc. It keeps on going, and person A is steadily making $500 from this $10,000 investment in a 5% savings account for the next 40 years. Person A is realizing what is called simple interest. They're realizing simple interest, which is just interest on the starting amount. So you have that principal of $10,000, right? And you are continually making interest on only that amount. You're never making interest on an amount more than that 10K. Now, finally, at the end of this 40-year period, person A has ended up making $20,000, or at least now has $20,000 worth of things that they bought over the 40-year period. And you just get that calculation by multiplying the $500 you're earning every year by the 40-year period. Easy enough. Wrapping up person A's performance over this period of time, we can now look into person B's. So again, we have our T-chart here, but the thing that I mentioned person B is doing differently is that he is not taking away the interest that he earns over the year period. So as you can see, you have, just as you started with person A, your $10,000 principal. After the year has passed and you've made 5%, you now have $10,500. But as you can see, the starting amount that next year is not going back to 10K because that $500 is staying in. So now you go up to $11,025 and that stays in. So the thing that person B is doing differently is that he's letting the interest stay in the account and not taking it out. And that results in him realizing something called compound interest, which is, of course, our term of the week. Compound interest is interest on the starting amount plus the interest on previous periods. And a little math lesson, the difference between a linear and exponential growth is that linear goes up by a constant amount. For example, person A is $500, but compound interest does not go up by a constant amount. As you can see, you went up by $500 the first time, but then you went up by $525 the next time, and you keep going up by a greater amount. And in the end, this results in that. Person A made $20,000 over the 40-year period, while person B made $70,399. You can clearly see person B won our little imaginary competition by a very, very, very significant amount, making 352% more than person A by doing the very simple thing of not doing anything, just letting his money grow and not deducting it after each 1-year period. This brings us to our final takeaways, the first of which is compound interest, which is a way to increase your wealth over the long term by making interest on past interest, not just your starting amount. And the second and final takeaway of this video is just to let your money grow and to not touch it, whether that be in your savings account, as in this example, whether that be in your stock account, right? Your brokerage account, your portfolio, anything related to money, do not touch it. Because if you just let that money grow, you're going to benefit from our term of the week, compound interest, where you're making money, you're generating money on money you've already generated, which lets you get a lot further than just making money on your starting amount. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Gen Z Talks Money, and I'll see you next time.